Flashback Data Archive is less of a flashback technology, more of a archiving technology in my view, but they all these technologies are called Flashback fall under the same umbrella. So we'll talk about it in terms of its ability to be a flashback utility. This is what we need to do in terms of some prerequisites to establish what's called Flashback Data Archive. We need a table space. We don't have to create one, but as long as we have a table space available, that's obviously just stock standard create table space command. The new thing we have is this thing called a Flashback Archive object. And it's a logical construct. You give it a name, but you nominate a table space and you nominate a retention. And what this says is that anything I put into this Flashback Archive, I want to be able to retrieve the data for that object for any point in time up to the retention period nominated. So if I put a table into a Flashback Archive, that's that one there, the long term, I'll be able to see that table as it was at any point in time up to a year ago, which obviously is far superior to something like Flashback Query. I then do alter table emp Flashback Archive and stick it into that Flashback Archive and I'm done. Now you don't see anything obvious. It just simply says table altered and it's not immediately aware what's going on. I put there in brackets, I've done lots of DML. So now I've put it into the archive and I have lots and lots of DML. So there's lots of things that have happened to that table, lots of inserts, updates and deletes. If I just do select star for employee, which is show me as the table is now, then as you'd expect, it just does table access full employee. No problems there, that just works, that's to show me the current data. If I do select star from employee table as of 1 hour ago, well, I can use a different flashback technology called Flashback Query to do that. We simply mine into the undo segments, and as long as the undo retention is set appropriately, then we can get the data from the undo segments. So where does Flashback Data Archive come in? Let's go 3 days later now. Let's show me the employee table as it was 3 days ago. Now, it's very unlikely that Flashback Query is going to be able to do that because it's unlikely we're going to have 3 days worth of undo floating around online in our system. Because I put that table into a Flashback Data Archive, let's look at the execution plan. We ran select star from emp, but the execution plan looks quite different. Yes, we still have a reference to emp in there on line 8, but we're now accessing some other objects, sys FBA hist, sys FBA TCRV, 69539 is actually the object ID for the employee table in user objects. So obviously some hokery pokery is going on behind the scenes to show us the employee table as it was 3 days ago. If we go look in user tables, you see when you put a table into the Flashback Archive, ultimately 3 objects will be created to support that facility. Hist, TCRV, DDL, colmap. Without actually, I'm just hypothesizing here. The FBA we can obviously assume is Flashback Data Archive. History, I assume, is a history of all the data. TCIV, I'm guessing, is some sort of transaction, TC for transaction revisions perhaps. And DDL colmap, I'm assuming that as you make DDL changes over time, for example, add columns to the table, then we need to be able to know when that was occurred so we can actually give you the data and map it appropriately. If we look at the DDL, because these are just normal objects, if we look at the DDL for them, you can see TCRV is start SCN, end SCN, XID, and OP. So probably a range of SCNs or timestamps at which a transaction has occurred, XID being the transaction ID, and OP being the operation, insert, update, delete. So we can see that we're probably storing there a record of all the different transactions that have occurred. If I look at the history table, I see the same thing, start SCN, end SCN, XID operation as before. And then I see all the columns of the table, my employee table, emp, node, job, etc. It's also quite nice in that we're using the term eating your own dog food. Our underlying technology here, we're using partitioning, we're using compression to get the absolute best out of the performance in terms of these Flashback Data Archive tables. Obviously, you'll never need to actually query these tables yourself. You simply do a query from the employee table as of any particular point in time up to a year in this example, and it will utilize the data in these tables to actually give you the data as it was. A couple of things to note, because if I flick back to the DDL, you can see that these underlying tables have got these columns called start SCN, end SCN, etc. What if your table had columns called that? Well, it says don't, simple as that. Start SCN, end SCN, read, XID, op. I think we can be pretty confident you're probably unlikely to have them in your table. The one you should take note of is operation. That's perhaps a noun or verb that is perhaps a bit more in familiar use. So you might actually encounter that in your normal table. So be aware of that. Whenever I show people Flashback Data Archive, they go, yeah, thanks, Connor, but I can't think of a single requirement where I've ever needed to look like what the employee table looked like last June. It's never an application requirement. So why talk about it? Well, if you can query the employee table as it was at June or at March or 2 p.m. last Wednesday or any point in time, what you're really saying is, I have every historical version of the row that has ever existed in that table, of every row. Now, that sounds a whole lot more familiar to me. Yes, looking at the employee table last June sounds of no use, but being able to know the lifespan or the history of every single row on the table sounds very familiar, because it's an audit history. And I can tell you, we've all done this. We might not be using Flashback Archive, but we've all done this in our lives. That is, you'll have some table called T, and some business requirement comes on and says we need to journal every table or audit every table. And so next thing you know, we get a table called T audit, like a partner table, which has the same columns plus a few more metadata. And then what do? You whack a trigger on the source table, and every time you insert or update or delete, you stick a row in the audit table. Now, that works, but it's slow as a wet week. You're using a lot of triggers and you're using a lot of DML here. If I insert 10,000 rows into my T table, well, those triggers fire 10,000 times. If I do a trace, the first section there is the insert, which got executed once to insert 10,000 rows. But inside the trigger where I'm doing insert into T audit, the second section there, that got executed 10,000 times. That's a big overhead. It's a significant performance cost to actually have triggers on every single table just to capture an audit trail. Perhaps a better, faster, more robust version would be Flashback Data Archive. Perhaps not what it was intended for, but what it does is let you see every history of every single row. Once I have Flashback Data Archive in place, I use a standard Flashback row versions query to access it. But now I have obviously a much greater range in terms of the from and to dates I choose, because I can go back up to a year or up to the nominated retention of my Flashback Data Archive. And you can see, because I have things like the start time, the operation ID, etc., I have my standard audit trail. There's all my employee rows, and you can see the first two rows there are actually both for employee 7369. It started off with an insert at 8:10:51 p.m. Then it became an update at 8:12 p.m. That's the first two rows. Then we had Alan, Ward, etc. So it's the entire history of every row in the table. It's that standard audit history stuff that we've been doing for years. When Flashback Data Archive came out, why didn't everyone just leap on board on this and use it for the audit trails? And I'm not being critical. I'm not saying people were ignorant. There's a couple of reasons. Reason one is audit trails typically weren't just a trail of the table columns themselves. They had other metadata. Every time I changed a row, yes, I wanted to keep a version of the row, but I want to know who and when and how, etc. And so I didn't want to have to go add those columns to my main table just so Flashback Data Archive would pick them up as well. That's obviously a big lot of application changes to be done. That's reason number one, people didn't adopt this. There was a much simpler reason. Reason number two is, in the early releases of Flashback Data Archive, this was a separately licensed product. It used to be called Total Recall. Shout out to Arnold Schwarzenegger if he's watching. It used to be a separately licensed facility. In 12C, things are much better. So number one is we have a thing called the context extension ability in Flashback Data Archive. When you're nominating a Flashback archive, you can also nominate what's called a context level. And what that does is now when you do DML and that information is captured into a Flashback Data Archive, once you know the transaction ID, and I'm querying the history table directly here, but you could obviously get it using a Flashback row versions query. Once you have the XID, you can actually use DBMS Flashback Archive to actually get metadata about that transaction. For example, in this case, it was done under the user called Scott on this laptop here called the XPS Dell XPS, and I was using SQL Plus to do it. So you get context information, that kind of metadata that you wanted, along in the Flashback Archive as well, without having to change the actual table columns in your database or applications. You don't just get those three things. This is what you have access to when you start capturing the context. And like you can see, there's a lot of stuff there that you can pick up. If I go directly query a data dictionary view called sysfba context audit with a nominated version ID, which I've got from a Flashback row versions query, you can see that there's a whole heap of stuff. I've got the edition name, the schema, what the database role was, what the database name was. The OS user was HAMCDC, which is my login on this PC here. Lots and lots of cool information, all that metadata that you always wanted captured along with the audit trail as well. If you've got the versions XID for all the historical rows on all the table, I can simply join into that assist FBA context aud to get an entire audit trail plus all the extra metadata as well. The second thing, the price for Flashback Data Archive is now free. How cool is that? Now, I should caveat that you now get to choose basic versus advanced mode. And the only real difference between basic and advanced mode is that advanced mode uses the compression I showed in the DDL before, and the basic one doesn't. I'd be willing to bet people weren't compressing their audit trails anyway. So now you can use Flashback Data Archive for free. Ultimately, you get to choose your cost. If you want that compression, then you can obviously pay the separate license. Or I think if you're already using things like Active Data Guard or Golden Gate, I think that includes Flashback Data Archive license anyway. Check with your local account rep. So as I said, have a think about Flashback Data Archive. Maybe not in terms of looking at old data, but in terms of an audit trail replacement. It's going to be secure because it's read-only. It's not your application tables, they're internal tables inside Oracle. It's very efficient. There's no triggers. It's a background process doing this process for you. And it's all of your history and all of your audit, which is pretty cool as well. At which point you're going, yeah, thanks, Connor. I've been doing audit trail stuff for the last 20 years and I got all this history information. What did you tell me to throw that away? No, you can actually import the history. So if you put a table into a Flashback Data Archive and you've got existing audit trail, you can define mappings to load up your old history in your old trigger-based format into the Flashback Data Archive and use it from there. So that's pretty cool. One important note on Flashback Data Archive is when you put a table into the Flashback Data Archive, what happens is it says, yep, I'm done. It won't need to create all those subordinate tables until a number of DMLs have occurred. It doesn't need to keep that history until the amount of undo that's available is exhausted in the undo segments. So those tables are created after the fact. If you don't have ability to create those tables, you won't get told right there and then. It'll just appear in your alert log later on. Here's an example here where I took away the create table privilege from the Scott schema. So yes, it let me put it in the Flashback archive. And then when it tried to create the underlying tables in an hour's time, it failed. I have no information here except the alert log telling me that, yeah, by the way, you ain't doing Flashback archive. So if I don't pick that up in a year's time, I go, it's okay. I've got the whole Scott audit trail done. Then yeah, I'm in for a rude surprise. So be aware. And one last thing, going back to SMON SCN time, this view is obsolete when it comes to mapping between timestamps and SCNs for Flashback query. However, that table is used for Flashback Data Archive. And what happens is that table is actually by default in a data cluster, a clustered object inside the data dictionary. What that means is you can only map 65,000 blocks or 2 to the power of 16 blocks inside a cluster before you start having problems. If you're using Flashback Data Archive for extremely long periods of time, more than 3.5 years, then that cluster may fill. And that table is used by Flashback Data Archive internally. If you're planning on using Flashback Data Archive for audit or any other purpose, but for long retentions, make sure you check that MetaLink note, 238984.1. It shows you a list of steps to move that table into a non-clustered object and therefore have unlimited retention periods.